This is the season for podcasting, and Dylan and Andrew are about to record another one. In fact, they're almost set up now. Let's take a listen. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Acebo.
And this week, as we continue in guest season, we are joined by none other than Andrew's sister.
Grace Ann.
Acebo.
Hi.
If that wasn't a given.
Well, it was given to her from my dad and from his dad.
There you go.
That has been names.
Lineage, there you go.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Have you ever listened to the show before?
I have.
You did?
It was a while ago, but yes.
Okay. Did you make it through a whole episode? It's okay if you didn't.
Yes.
Okay. I'm proud of you. Great
I
job.
don't remember a lot of it because I was scraping wallpaper off my sister's walls.
So Colleen was
And I was standing on a counter, so I was really trying not to fall.
Yeah.
Noted Adventures in Odyssey and Wad Fam Chalk Pod fan.
Colleen
Acebo.
Acebo.
Oh, yes.
Yes, which
Who
will
is also
inevitably...
not named Acebo anymore, and we
No.
still do it.
Oh, yeah. I called Alex her boyfriend the other day and really got... I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Boy, were you wrong.
Yeah.
That's fine. What's your Adventures in Odyssey history, exposure, story? I don't know. Fill us in. Get me up to speed.
Well, my brother, Brendan, and my sister, Colleen, were
Friends of the
very, very big fans of Adventures in Odyssey, and so was Andrew, and thus I
Had no choice.
I had no choice but to listen to it. I never protested, but I had no choice but to listen to it. But being very young, I was very specific about what episodes I would listen to. Specifically this one, I would just insist.
Yeah.
But
Well, because we've talked about the fact that the On Thin Ice album was like one of the few ones that we had.
Right.
yeah,
Iconic album.
Yeah.
I
For
listened
the
to it.
Acebo household.
Yeah, I listened to it.
And nobody else, because I don't know that it's that great.
I listened to it so much I scratched Andrew's tape, and he was very mad.
It was a CD, and yeah, I was mad. But I think at that point I had already ripped it onto iTunes, so...
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah, no, my Nano was chock full of Odyssey.
I did not, as like an early iPod guy, or actual MP3 player guy, whatever, I did not rip my Adventures in Odyssey CDs until we started this podcast.
Interesting.
Yep.
You said that you used to listen to them like while you would mow the lawn during middle school.
Yeah, but at that point, I think I was...
No,
I wasn't. Not while I mowed the lawn, I don't think. Oh, no, but by the time I was mowing the lawn, that was listening to Novacom, which I had definitely not torrented.
Oh, okay.
Like, that was far enough into it
yes.
that we were now...
Yeah.
It was like early high school. But,
So you never personally ripped any of your own. That makes sense.
yeah.
Huh. Well, how about that? I think that might be on Brandon for teaching me how to rip CDs.
Yeah, I mean, I've ripped plenty of CDs, just not.
But it was purely for road trips for the most part, for road trips and monotonous labor of extended time periods.
Yeah.
But thank goodness he did, because I ruined...
Yeah.
I ruined the physical copy, so if he hadn't done that, he would have had one very upset. I don't know.
What other episodes do you remember?
Goodness. I remember the other Barclay Family Vacation, the summer one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because you also famously have that album too, right? Like album 2?
2? Yeah. Yeah, we have 2, 7, and The Truth Chronicles.
I remember bits and pieces of Blackguard.
Mm-hmm.
The bits and pieces you were allowed to listen to.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't know how much
I was young.
Yeah.
I was really young and very afraid. So
we pre-vetted that for
Right.
Grace's
Yeah.
anxiety.
I think we even talked about that when Brendan came on to cover the episode on Darkness Before Dawn.
Yeah,
Which was like,
yeah.
we protected Grace from this one.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to remember because I was so young when I listened to it.
Well, and half the time you were subjected to it.
Yes.
So, like, it wasn't like a conscious decision.
Yeah.
No.
However, though, I was subjected to Princess Diaries a million times.
Yeah.
And I have that pretty much memorized.
And I thank you for that.
I mean, I just catch falling stars
I
and
love
I put
it.
them in my pocket.
I love Adventures in Odyssey. It's not that I wouldn't listen to it.
Sure.
It just, I think, but not many people in my class, like in my grades, really.
Oh, no, because we're
listened
weirdos.
It was a Brendan and Colleen thing that was then passed to you. And
well, Colleen actually grew out of it, and then I kind of kept Brendan into it a little bit.
Yeah, and I caught the tail end of everybody listening to it.
Yeah, certainly. Mm-hmm. Well, and again, when you were coming around to it, like, during my peak, 10 to 12 years old, you would have been, 8 or 9, or not 8 or 9, how much younger? 3 years?
I'm 2.5 years younger than you.
You would have been 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't have been quite on the same level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being the oldest in my family, my younger brothers have a similar experience to you, which is it not necessarily being their thing, but them just being there for me listening to it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So the episode we are talking to, I think we've danced around it a little bit, but we're talking about episode 99, the Barclay Family Ski Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you kind of already said it, but why'd you pick this one, Grace?
Because this is the reason that I scratched Andrew's tape. It's the one I listened to the most frequently, and also very fond memory with this one. I came home from school one day feeling very sick, and Andrew pulled up my laptop and logged into a site that he was able to get Adventures in Odyssey and played it for me while I slept.
Yeah. That sounds
He's
like
a good
something
big
I
brother.
would do.
Yeah.
Sweet brother. Yeah.
And come to your aid with some, audio dramas. I could have gotten you Gatorade. That would have been more helpful, but here. Yeah. Listen to this completely unrelated.
I specifically had a migraine, so I couldn't look at anything.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there were a lot of things that I was feeling that day, but migraine was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, he played something I didn't have to look at.
Do you listen to, podcasts now at all?
I do.
So, I've definitely talked on the show about how listening to Odyssey pretty much was a pipeline straight to podcasts. Was there a gap there for you in between Odyssey, listening to Odyssey a lot and podcasts, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, so podcasts are a more recent development.
Yeah, I listened to more audiobooks.
Classic.
The other gateway drug.
Yes.
That was directly from Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I would get when I was in cyber school, I would get the audio CDs and put them in my laptop and listen to them.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Well, they're good books, so, and there's enough of them that, you can fill a lot of hours listening to Harry Potter just one time through. Yeah. So,
much less on repeat.
Yeah.
So, other random context to kind of set up this episode. One, if you haven't heard this episode, go out and listen to it. It's good. It's available for free in the Adventures in Odyssey official podcast feed. They put it out, 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, something feed. Ridiculous.
But also, it's... I was like, oh man, it started, and I was like, I love this era of the Barclays. It sounds so much like The Visitors. And then I looked, and it's like, oh, The Visitors is the previous episode.
Yeah.
It's directed by Phil Lawler, but written by Jeff Parker, who also plays Rob in the episode.
Interesting. Huh.
He did not sound... He sounded much younger on the recording.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he was an adult man at the time.
Yeah, naturally.
Of recording this. But this is his only episode that he wrote. He worked for Focus on the Family at the time in promotion and ad copy.
Oh!
And was very excited to write an episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would make sense why it feels very sitcom-y.
Yeah, there's a couple moments where I'm like, ah, yes, this is someone who doesn't normally write Adventures in Odyssey doing this.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, also, maybe part of the reason that this episode is like 18 minutes. It's so short.
Yeah, it is very short.
It's so short.
It feels like it's missing, like, part of it.
Yeah, did they like only have like 25-minute time slots with ads or something? Like I'm confused.
I think they just didn't, like, I think this episode just didn't pan out to be that long.
I mean, to be honest, I'm glad like if they had stretched it out another 5 minutes, I don't think that it would have been better.
Yeah. Well, there's also the thing of like episodes in this era had those really extended Chris intros where she was like doing a skit within the show. Mm-hmm. And so that is all cut out on the album version. So I think that might be part of it as well.
Man, we gotta go back in and...
Yes, because Chris did a little skit with the male guy.
Mm-hmm. For this episode?
I think it was this episode. She had a little skit with the male guy. And I said I remembered that quote, and it was
It's not in the episode.
It's not in the episode, at least on the app.
Yeah.
He says, what, rain, sleet, snow, or hail, you'll always get your important mail. I still remember that.
I believe it.
But that's,
I believe it.
It's not in the episode. I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, because you said that to me at home randomly, and I was like, I don't remember that from that. You're remembering a different episode.
Nope.
No, it was Chris. It was Chris's skit.
No, you remembered better than I did. Well done.
Woohoo.
Yeah, that is
not much of a feat, but you know.
So.
Nope.
Yeah, and I think I do probably have the original version archived somewhere. I just have to dig through and look for it. But
yeah, I think I have it on my laptop.
One other dumb thing is so Rob is credited on the wiki as being spelled with 2 B's at the end.
That's wrong.
And I'm like, I don't know why. Who thought that was right?
I think the only literature I feel comfortable consulting is the official guide.
Oh my word, that's true. I did want to check the official guide for context in this. So I'm going to do that. But in the meantime, let's roll the promo.
Next on Adventures in Odyssey.
He's just so nice. He's cute. Do you think he likes me? Whoa! Puppy love alert! Puppy love alert!
While on a ski vacation with her family, Donna and her father learn a painful lesson about growing up.
George, I think our daughter has developed a little crush.
No! It's all downhill from there on the next Adventure in Odyssey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's something. The music is delightful, I will say that, and, you know, it really does capture some of the more iconic moments of the episode.
Yeah.
Specifically George's little wail.
So what was your experience listening to the episode today after so many years, Grace?
It was very nostalgic. I remember why I like this episode. It was very interesting because I was looking at Donna's age. Mm-hmm. They said she was 12 years old, which is actually the age that I'm going to school to teach. She's a middle school girl. Mm-hmm. So her behavior is absolutely on track for being a 12-year-old girl having a crush on a 17-year-old boy. Absolutely. And I tell you, at no point in a girl's life does a guy being drastically older than you ever stop you from having a crush on them. And it starts when you're in middle school. It starts when you're in middle school. And I'm seeing that. I see some of that in my life group girls. I also lead 7th grade life group girls. So I could totally see some of them being just like Donna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7th grade is such a mishmash of like pubescent, I don't know, smoothie. Like there's so many different stages of puberty that people are in that are represented across the same grade level, just based off like genetic factors and stuff. So yeah, Donna, I can tell, is definitely younger than some 12-year-olds I know.
Yeah.
But older than some as well. Like she's definitely like, you know, boy crazy and all of that, but you know,
but in a responsible way.
Yeah. In the way that doesn't make her dad too uncomfortable.
So
I don't know, he sounded pretty upset.
We'll unpack that as we go. I would like to point out that the complete guide to Adventures in Odyssey does list him as Rob with 2 B's. No! So I have no idea why, but you know, shout out to the wiki for being accurate, I guess.
Just call him
I'm
Rob.
sorry for
Rob.
sorry for coming at you. Also, this episode originally aired December 30th of 1989.
Oh, that's so fun.
So, yeah.
I'm sure that was intentional, but...
You know, over Christmas break.
Yeah, exactly.
When you would go on a ski trip.
Mm-hmm.
So, right. So the premise of this, it's one of the many Barclay Family Vacation episodes.
Yeah.
They have the original one.
The summer vacation.
They have the what is it, the one where they were the best vacation ever?
Yes, the staycation. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
The staycation vacation. They've got the ski vacation.
Yep.
They later have the Hawaii vacation. Yep. It's just like it's a staple for them.
And you know, they're kind of all good. I don't know, man. Listing all those off, there's not one. I mean, the staycation was definitely the most boring.
Sure. I think in general we're like fans of Barclay Family episodes.
Yeah, certainly.
Like even misguided ones. Looking at you, modesty is the best policy. But like even
thankfully you didn't you've never heard that one, have you?
You're better off for it.
Yeah, no, you're
right.
good.
That's
you got enough
we'll
culture as
attribute your well-adjustedness to having not listened to that episode growing up.
Congratulations. You've won an award.
I remember Colleen talking about that one. Yep, I do remember that.
But yeah, it's... but yeah, just in general, like, I don't know. The Barclay family just has good chemistry, and they feel like a family.
Well, yeah, and there's the motifs of, you know, them all being in the car, going someplace, and it's, they, by having so much repetition as far as, like, covering the same types of experiences through vacations and whatever, you get just a really quaint familiarity with the characters and the environments and everything. And so even now, listening to this episode, you know, I can almost relate to George a little bit more now, and just being like trying to appreciate the moment that he's in for what it is, despite, you know, the annoyance of children and such.
There you go. So, it starts off with this delightful bit as they are packing up their bags that they all climb into the car, and then George realizes he's forgotten his book, and he goes back into the house to get this book that is the book that he brings on every vacation and has not read. And Mary, maybe jokingly, maybe honestly, says, "Didn't you buy that on our honeymoon?"
Yeah, and then they continue it with Jimmy having to bring it too.
Yeah, that bit is great. Where Jimmy's like, "Am I gonna have to take the book with me too when I get older?"
Yeah. What kind of book? I mean, I'm presuming it's about boats. Maybe that's just me.
I was thinking it was like a war book.
I thought it was a novel. Mm-hmm. But he introduces it as like, where's that book? Like, you know, the one I keep over on that shelf over there. Like, nothing very special. And then it's the son that...
Yep. It's the only book.
Isn't it the book that you bring on every vacation? And all of a sudden, it's this big thing, but he doesn't think that much of it at first.
What a terrible pastor. I mean, he should be reading more, you know?
Dude, this is before he's been called to be a pastor.
True. He's a dirty, rotten sinner now. Oh. Sorry, George. No wonder I relate to him so much.
Oh, man.
It's also established that Donna does not want to go on vacations to the mountains in the winter.
Right.
Because, you go on
like, it's
hot
already
vacations
cold.
when it's cold out.
Yep.
And cold vacations when it's hot out. Which,
Yeah. She wants her friend is, in Hawaii or whatever.
Oh, no. They're in...
They're in Hawaii right
Yeah.
now. 2 years ago, they went to Bermuda, and last year they were in the Bahamas.
Yep, and they went to Greece before that.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the friend's dad works on an airline.
Referencing that one family that every family knows, like, it's a different family for everyone, but that one family that they're like, yeah, they went to California for spring break, and then they went to Hawaii over the summer, and they went to Greece for Christmas. Like,
They're-
They went to
taking
Niagara Falls. I mean, Niagara Falls isn't that far.
3 trips a year, like...
Yeah. And there's something incredibly relatable both about that, but then also about Mary's confusion over the whole thing. When she's like, no, because Donna's like, no, she was like, didn't they go to Hawaii last year? She's like, no, last year they were in the Bahamas, and Mary goes, oh, I thought it was Bermuda. And it's just like, I don't know, that sort of like, when did people go where kind of like confusing banter
ordering.
is so relevant, like just felt so real.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm like, I've been in that conversation a dozen times and I'm always right.
Yeah, and the mother
It's a
daughter,
blessing.
the mother daughter talking about like this family, like that's so familiar.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her slides back when slides were a thing.
Oh my word, yes. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, oh yes,
Remember
this is
that?
from '89.
Yeah.
You go on vacation and then you come back and you have all your friends come over to watch a slideshow of it.
Yep.
Now we just Instagram it.
And depression has only skyrocketed.
The other bit here is that they ask, how much longer it's going to be, and George says an hour, and they were like, didn't you say that an hour ago? And he's like, it was just as true then as it is now. But then he goes on, when they're talking about getting lost, he's like, I would never, I've never been lost, my name's, I'm George Rand McNally Barclay.
Yeah, have that written out. What?
So Rand McNally is the name of a map publisher.
Oh. I thought that was his actual middle name.
Nope.
Is it already stated what his middle name is?
No, we do not know his middle name, but it's probably some It's a Wonderful Life reference.
Definitely. It's been almost a year since I've seen that movie. I can't make any jokes right now.
Same, that's why I said it the way I did. But, yeah. So no, I don't think he's actually named after a map company. I think that is the joke he is making. But, maybe he's named after. Anyways, they finally arrive at the ski lodge, which might be haunted.
It seems to be. It's awfully creaky.
Yeah.
There's like wind blowing through it.
Yeah, you can hear how dead the air smells.
Like, I got cold listening to it. The comment about the 2 penguins waddling out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is very clearly... Well, Grace, you've been skiing as well. And Dylan, have you ever been skiing?
I have not been skiing. There's no part of going down
a hill really fast just to go
fast while standing up that appeals to me. I can barely tube comfortably. Why would I ski?
Tubing I think is less comfortable than skiing, because if you're good at skiing and you're not as long as you're not
No.
falling
I'm
over
not
skiing.
not saying like comfortable as in like physical comfort. Comfortable as in like I am scared out of my mind tubing.
Fair.
When it's like, hey, we're gonna go to a big tubing hill, like I have to psych myself up to it, like I'm trying to like jump into a swimming pool or something.
Yeah.
Like it is.
You just get really comfortable at eating absolute snow.
Right. Yeah. So no, there's no part of me that would want to ski or snowboard or any of that stuff, unless like maybe I could get into like a cross country ski. I
You strike me as a
a
snowshoer. Have you ever considered snowshoeing?
I mean,
I think Grandma snowshoes.
Yes, she does.
Okay, yeah.
Very regularly.
I didn't know snowshoe was like a sport. I figured it was just like the
like a
thing
hobby.
they did in old-timey days to get around. Like,
That
I always
too.
thought it was more a necessity than enjoyment.
I think that at this point, snowshoeing has evolved into a sort of extreme winter hiking, as it were.
Right.
So
Right.
there is
I
something
like-
to be said for that.
Yeah, and well, and as a guy who bikes, I'm like, I could get the, and does not mountain bike, but
Yeah.
like, enjoys like rail trails or biking around a town or whatever. I could get into like cross-country skiing, probably.
Oh yeah, and we've got some
But-
trails around here. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but like also, I don't know. That's a lot of equipment to buy for like the, 3 times a year where I could actually use it.
Probably less money than you've sunk into this podcast.
Andrew, we don't want to talk about that.
Fair. That's after.
But I
Dylan
do
will
this
get into skiing
podcast
as soon
every
as the
week.
podcast ends.
I can't ski every week.
It depends on how committed you are.
Gone skiing once, and there were enough bad happenings that I did not go again.
Did you go with me?
I went with you and Mom.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
That was the time we had to send you down the hill to tell our family that we were coming, but could not stay standing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that because Mom also had a really hard time skiing.
I think Mom might have had a harder time than I did.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
But also the lift.
She's
to
a
the-
full-grown woman, and you were in middle school at the time, maybe.
Maybe Donna aged.
I was Donna aged, yeah.
Yeah.
Only we got stuck on a mountain and actually had to butt scoot down the toboggan hill.
Oh,
See,
yes.
see,
I
you
remember.
should have gone to ski school with Hot Rob.
See, I did.
Was there a hot
Rob?
Rob?
There was no hot Rob. There was the man who yelled at me for having my braid out of my coat.
So the opposite of Hot Rob.
I was all ready to go. I had
audacity.
everything, and they made me take it all off so that I could put my hair inside my coat and then put it back on.
Well, you wouldn't want your hair to get hypothermia.
Yeah, yeah. They're really afraid of those hair lawsuits where it gets frozen and breaks off and they sue you for $500,000.
But the easy hill, the lift, it only took you like halfway up the mountain, straight down an easy
Yeah,
path.
even a ski lift seems terrifying to me.
It is actually.
Well,
It is the most scary part for me as an experienced skier.
The lift was broken, so we couldn't go up on so the only step between, there was no step between the bunny hill and all the hard stuff. So we had to go all the way to the top of the mountain, go down an intermediate, onto an easy, through a black diamond, and back down onto an intermediate.
Cool.
And my brother, Andrew, was just like, it'll be fine. I'll go with you. It'll be okay. Well, when we were getting off the lift, he told me what to do. I did it. My mother and I both landed face first in the snow. Just not even, we didn't even land and then fall over. It just went flat.
Well, yeah, so basically the tactics for getting off of a ski lift is just put your feet down, you feel the slide of the snow underneath you, and then you slowly shift your weight onto your feet, and it's a little hill, and you just go right down and you can stop. It requires a surprising amount of coordination, and, falling while dismounting is probably the most embarrassing thing that you can do while skiing.
Absolutely, I got run over by somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, it requires landing. Like, getting off, like,
Grace
feeling...
is very graceful, I must say.
Only when I'm dancing. Only when I'm dancing. Other than that, I am a grade A klutz.
But are you seeing the contradiction here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I shouldn't be as clumsy as I am for being a ballerina, but I got a concussion tying my shoes, so here we are.
Look, you can't win them all.
No. So yeah,
And you don't have to tie slippers, so,
all of this came from the fact that I've been skiing before, and this does not sound anything like a ski lodge that exists. It sounds like a hut, it sounds like an Airbnb on a mountain, and you, ski down to the bottom to, get to the lift.
I don't know. It sounds like generic cabin.
Fair.
Like, especially like the layout of like there's a loft upstairs where the kids get to sleep, and Jimmy's very excited about that. I was
Yeah.
like, this feels very relatable. It sounds like the chalets in South Africa.
We do. I miss the chalet. What a glorious architectural feat they
Yeah.
were.
Great layout, big bottle of Stony, solid weekend.
Oh. Maybe that's what I'll get you that for Christmas.
Import some
Stony
Stony
just for Dylan.
Oh man, it's
If you
not
know,
that
you know.
good.
It's pretty good
It's
though.
pretty good. It's more the novelty of like, oh, this is available everywhere.
True. Wait,
Like no, like the fact that you could go to, like, if we went to the McDonald's, you could
Yeah.
get a Stony.
yes.
As opposed to like here, where it's like if you're trying to get ginger beer, you gotta like,
$30.
right. It's like
import.
high and low. You're gonna get it in a bottle, but like you can get better ginger beer here than a Stony.
True. Fever Tree, I would argue.
This episode brought to you by Stony. It's ginger beer, but not in the U.S.
Yep. This means nothing to anybody that listens in this country.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's plenty of overseas listeners. Hey, look, if you've got a good experience with Stony, write to us.
I would love to hear your stories.
And
your Stony
Coca-Cola
stories.
Company, if you want to sponsor us, absolutely.
I've got some positive relationships with your vendors already.
So yeah, what? So the next scene is them at
The lodge.
lunch. This
Yeah.
is after practice, and Donna comes over and is super excited. She talks about the fact that her friend Tracy's here from home, and Mary does the, oh, I know Tracy, and I'm just like, man, this is too real.
Yeah.
This is every reaction.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I don't know if it's real in every situation, but living in a place like Lancaster County, knowing who your children go to school with very well is pretty common around
It's like
here.
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parents have to be involved. Especially, I should say this, mothers have to be involved. George, no expectation there that he would know who she is.
Nope. No, he's just got to make that money and not, I don't know. Leave?
Not make money.
Leave.
Not leave. Oof. Too dark. I will refer you to It's a Pokin' Berry Christmas. So
I say.
so Donna, is like, I'm going over with Tracy, you know, she gets a sandwich to go. And then from
Bad
across
idea.
the room,
You don't want to ski and eat.
Skeet.
Ski.
Skeet?
That's something else.
So from across the way, Mary spies Donna looking all goo-goo eyed at Hot Rob.
Rob with 2 B's.
Yeah, Rob sounds like a hunk. Right? Resident female?
I would say he's...
Right, because Andrew is not allowed to say that someone sounds like a hunk.
Well, no,
as a
I
man.
am. I just need I need it to be confirmed.
Judging by his voice, yes, he's got a very attractive voice. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Exactly.
And of course, there's the aspect of, she mentioned she fell twice skiing and he picked her up.
And that's love.
That is love, and that is brought up by her. And Tracy said he remembered her name. I mean, what else can you do but assume that he's in love with you?
I have had lovers treat me worse than that.
Yeah, that's on you, Andrew.
That sounds like a you and also not so you problem.
Yeah, no,
So-
he's certainly courteous, and Donna is very excited.
Yeah, well, and George is losing his mind at the idea that his daughter might be attracted to a man. Like, a
17-year-old. Well, and there's
A
this
crush?
big swelling music behind it, and it builds the drama of Mary just being like, I don't know, it seems like she might, just
Like-
a little baby crush. Oh!
like, I like that Mary is just like notices
Mary's
these
chill about
things
it.
and is just like, oh, this is funny. And also, like,
And
I have
cute.
to hope that she wouldn't be, like, weird towards Donna about it and just being like in teasing her or anything. Like, this feels very much like this is something she's saying to George, and that's where it's gonna end.
Yeah.
George, on the other hand, doesn't know what to do.
George is
Grace, as a daughter of fathers, how
just the one father. Well, I guess two if we're including the big man.
how did this strike you?
It was very familiar. Very familiar.
Superlative is daughter of fathers.
Daughter of fathers.
Grace and Acebo.
Daughter of fathers, and yeah, it's very familiar. I mean,
Would you care to share a personal anecdote?
well, I'm trying to think. I mean, my father has always, it's an interesting fight between my father wanting me to always be his little girl and not date, but also him actually being quite fond of my boyfriend. But every once in a while, he just reminds my boyfriend that he has a Gurkha.
Which is a large knife for
And,
those who are not
and
aware.
he will cut
I
parts
thought it
of
was a
him
pickle.
off. And he said he will cut
baby
parts
food
of him
brand.
off. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There
And-
is that fine line of discomfort and then just, authoritarian fear.
Yeah. Yeah. And also me just being like, having to walk up to your dad and be like, he's gonna ask you to hang out with him or do something, so he can ask if you can date me. Like, telling my dad that that's coming up for him. And my dad just...
How did he respond to that? Like, pretty
Oh!
well? Oh.
Just goes, oh, I see.
Yeah, I can hear that.
And
That's-
asks.
That's Brian.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I received no such protection. They just threw me to the wolves. I was like, please let me date before I'm ready. And they were like, well, maybe, yeah, go for it. All right, fine.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and
then-
you've been perfectly well adjusted as a result.
Oh, yeah, there's been no emotional scarring.
Oh, no. And then for me, like, they've always been like, nope, we made that mistake. We're not doing it. Nope.
So what you're saying is Andrew ruined it for you.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, maybe I protected you.
Yeah. Well, and,
By making every mistake.
well, and mine too is put through the loop.
I mean, you also had older siblings to make mistakes
True.
too, Andrew.
True.
His parents informed
Except
us
for
we were-
Colleen struck gold on the first try, and
Yeah.
Brendan didn't do much dating until, like, he was in college.
Well, I think he said he hadn't had his first kiss till he was 18.
Yeah, no, I beat him to that by, like, 5 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's... Never mind, I'm not gonna talk about my kissing history.
Your history, as it were. So yeah, we go over to Donna and Tracy, and Rob walks up and is like, "Hey, you guys care if I eat with you guys here? Because this place is packed." And they're like, "Oh yes, please." And I love Tracy's role as like the friend. I think she does it very well.
Tracy is killing it this scene.
And
later.
Rob compliments Donna's sweater.
Yeah.
The skiing
He's
ducks.
laying it on thick.
Yeah, it has ducks with skis on it, guys.
Absolutely.
I
I
want
mean,
that sweater.
Can that be our Christmas merch this year?
ducks on skis.
I mean,
Michaela? Please?
yeah, more on that at the end of the episode. But yeah, it's a lot, and I do kind of love it. And then he walks away, and Tracy's like, "Oh, you're crushing!" Like she's getting all excited about it.
Typical middle school girl.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, there's the Snow White dwarves joke.
Oh,
like,
yes.
You're sleepy and dopey and happy
No.
and sneezy and...
Silly and dazed, loony, wacky, giggly, and goofy.
And what were those other
And
dwarves?
what were those other dwarves' names? That leaves us with only one question.
What
What were those other dwarves' names? Well, I mean, In Donna's defense, as a 17-year-old guy, you have a little bit more insight in the fact that a 12-year-old girl crushing on somebody is not hidden. It is very obvious.
For sure.
It's absolutely obvious. So he could see it.
Yeah.
He could see it. I mean, her saying, "Hi, Rob," like that was absolutely you can see right through that. So he was.
But I mean, Rob's a hunk, so this is just another
laying
day
it
at the
on
office
thick.
for Rob.
He was laying it on thick a little.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he might be. I mean, yeah. There's definitely to be said. Maybe Rob played into this a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think you let her on.
Yeah. So that happens. Then he leaves.
Then Frosty the Snowman plays as the transition music.
Yeah.
Inexplicably.
It's not a Christmas episode. And
Came out the 30th.
generally speaking, when you go skiing, it's in like February or January. So this is after Christmas. Now I know the radio stations are still playing Christmas music, but using it as a transition was just a little bit out of character for
For
a
Odyssey.
skiing
I also
episode.
don't know if they legally can.
They must have changed at least one note.
Like they did the.
Well,
They did the smoke on the water thing.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Radio stations actually usually have licenses to play copyrighted music.
Yeah, but Odyssey's. I don't know.
I
Odyssey's
think
in a
Frosty
weird
the Snowman
spot.
might be public domain.
I doubt it, but
Enough
maybe
people use it.
I don't know. It's this episode is also the music is by Marty Acebo, who is not John Campbell, but did a bunch of the early Odyssey music alongside alongside John Campbell and some others. But yeah, he also did the music for The Visitors, which sounds very similar to this music and aired a week prior. So, that's what we're getting here.
Continuity is continuous.
And then the scene we come back on is George and Mary struggling in bed. Like they are, I don't know,
Tripping
he's
over
like,
things,
yeah,
banging
crawling
into things,
over.
her feet are freezing, which, I mean, what
Women.
else is new? I already can't feel my toes.
So we are on the cusp of Frosty the Snowman being public domain in our lives. We will see.
I mean, it was a little...
This is what you come to the
It was
pod.
a little different. It was a little different. It was
Yes.
spiffed up a little bit.
Yes. It was not purely
Wasn't
Frosty,
quite
but it
Frosty.
it was Frosty the Snowman in the way they did the Rocky theme in Do It or Die It.
Yes, exactly.
It was Frosty adjacent.
Yes.
Do it or die it.
Yeah, not Do or Die It. I added an extra it just for confusion's sake. Thanks for calling me out on it, Andrew. Now I can't edit this.
Sorry. I love you.
Here's a clean take of Do or Die It. We'll see what happens. So yeah.
Yeah.
George pitches that he's going to tell Donna that her training is canceled the next morning.
That she's graduated. She's so good. She doesn't need any more lessons.
Granted, it's been thrown in her face at the beginning by her brother that she needs to learn to ski standing up this time, which, I mean, I can relate to.
I was gonna say.
And I can relate to the brother making fun of her.
Oh, you have the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
All of the jokes.
Right. This is a product of Andrew growing up on Adventures
Absolutely.
in Odyssey.
Take the
he
icy
might be
chill.
Jimmy Barclay.
Take
Maybe in the way that I'm not comfortable with.
It says taking the Arctic chill off the room, and I was like, I think my brother said that before.
Oh, well, and I was definitely referencing Odyssey, but claiming it as my own, so.
Never have done that before.
No, that's not what this podcast is.
Mary to George's suggestion is like, George, that would be dishonest, and he just goes, yes, but effective.
Focus on the family's new motto.
Yes, but effective.
Dishonest but effective.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
I'm
what I
looking
heard.
at you, Maury.
Yes, seriously.
I mean, how many times have we wanted to do like the dishonest thing, but it was going to get us straight where we wanted to go?
Oh yeah. And so George comes up with the perfect solution here, which is he's like, oh, I'm just going to take my daughter on a date. That's what all the books tell me to do.
He's using him being a quote-unquote good father as an excuse to cover up his own inability to cope with his daughter's change.
Excellently worded.
Yes.
Thank you.
Couldn't
No,
have been
exactly.
He can't deal with the fact. And I mean, I don't have the perspective of I'm not the oldest daughter, but I am the youngest.
Well, and he's
of the
jealous of
family.
the other male attention.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There is some... Yeah, it's uncomfortable in the way that...
She's so old for him to be feeling these feelings now. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah.
Although this was the
It's-
80s. I don't know.
Right,
It's a
I don't know.
different time.
This feels very emblematic of conservative Christian doctrine, ideology, like
True.
the way fathers are framed in just like those circles.
Yeah. Well, because if
just the,
anything
like-
bad happens to your kid, it's entirely your fault, and there's no way that you can ever forgive yourself for it. Oh, and by the way, if you aren't a perfect father, God hates you, and you're going to hell.
Whoa.
Let's focus his other motto.
Yeah, God hates you, and you're going.
You're not perfect.
Trapdoor.
Don't make me push the button, Andrew. But yeah, it's and Mary's just kind of like, I wish we've talked about this in other Mary episodes, especially like the earlier ones like this, but like I wish she just pushed back.
Yeah.
Like she's too submissive and just kind of like,
Well,
George
she's
is gonna be
clearly right.
George.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't, be like, because she clearly, in the tone of her voice, is like, boy, is this a bad idea that will not work for you. And yet she doesn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and of course, she's the one who brought it up in the first place, so she's probably feeling like, I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should not have brought up.
And of course, George does the full, like, dad thing of just taking the moment and, like, tries to go across the, pitch black ski lodge in the dark, tripping over everything in that moment to go ask his daughter out, like, while she's probably falling asleep. Like, this is a recipe for disaster. There's no part of this that goes well. If Dad came up to me in the middle of the night and asked me to do something that I genuinely enjoyed with him the next day, I might... No, I wouldn't swear him out. But I would respectfully decline.
I would agree after throwing a pillow.
Yeah.
But it would for me, it's like as soon as the door opens, I throw something.
It's true. Well, your dog starts barking and then...
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
It's best not to disturb me when I'm sleeping because you will disturb the entire house and have the entire house's wrath rain upon you.
Yeah. And so George goes
have so much
upstairs. What now?
No. I was making a joke about you.
Oh. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'll watch what I say more.
Be better. George. Okay.
So George then goes upstairs to the loft, trips over some skis in a funny bit,
It was a good bit.
and then acts like a nervous kid asking his daughter out to like a prom date, where
Yep.
he's just like,
Would you maybe want to go out with me?
Yeah. Well, and then he talks about like I just miss making milk come out of your nose and all this like really cringe nostalgia. And I'm like, please, this is not just a desperate plea from a very confused man of trying to get some validation from his daughter.
That is him trying to cover up the fact that he's like, oh, you like a boy and I don't know what to do with it because you're growing up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
well, then he says something about, no, you have to want to go with me. And the emphasis on you have to was not like saying like, no, if you're going to go, if you're coming with me, I want you to want to do it. I don't want you to feel forced. And so I think that's what he was trying to say, but his wording was like, no, you have to want to come with me.
it's a very good performance by Chuck Bolte because it's both like it's him going like I feel like you hear it in his voice as he's saying no, you have to want it, of like him like
being
I don't know,
hurt by saying it.
Yeah, like him feeling, him realizing like, oh, like I could force you to do this as a parent, but that's not gonna be that's not gonna feel gratifying to me.
But
not
also,
that I want you to want it, but like in order for me to feel good, you need to actually want this.
Yeah, and he's also kind of realizing she doesn't want to go with me, does she? Which, I mean, also typical 7th grade girl. Like, now, I would love to spend time with my dad.
Sure.
He asked me to go take a walk or something. I would absolutely take him up on that. But as a 13-year-old girl or a 12-year-old girl, I probably wouldn't have been as quick to do that.
Right, well, and especially when it's specifically interrupting other plans.
Interrupting her plans with
Right.
the
With
hunky
Hot
hunky ski instructor Hot Rob.
Right.
Hot Rob ski merch coming to you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sounds a little too close to Hot Rod.
I mean, maybe intentionally. But yeah, it just leads to George being extra crushed now.
Oh, yeah. And he did it to himself.
Oh, I know.
He absolutely did it to himself.
It's like, come on, Mary, you could have saved him.
Well, I'm sure she's sitting back there like,
Oh yeah, yes, 100%.
but I did not push that hard to tell you.
Yeah, and not to say that this is Mary's fault by any means.
No,
but
she
I just wish that they let her be a little bit more assertive.
Well, and she was simply being a mom, like, looking at her daughter going, "Aw, she's got a crush."
Yep.
Like, that absolutely... Like, I'm sure my mother looked at me like that at one point, and I look at my life group girls like that all the time, like, she's got a crush, but she won't admit it.
Hey,
Like,
Marie, we know you listen. You can send an email and tell us about the time that you looked at your daughter that way.
I thought that Grace liked girls for a long time.
And yeah, he came up to me in the kitchen. I was organizing our spices.
A great pastime.
Absolutely. And he was like, I really thought you were into girls for a while. I was like, no, it's because I was afraid to mention anything about a boy because I didn't want anybody to give me attention for liking a boy. Which is
That one
absolutely...
might be on
real.
me. That one might be on me. I'm sorry
Yes.
about that. I love you.
Love you
And
too.
I'm glad that you have found.
Yeah, I just didn't want anybody to tease me for having a crush or liking a boy. And I was also in that stage of life where if anybody asked you if you liked somebody, you were like, no.
No, the
Why, did
answer's
you hear
always
something?
no.
Like, no,
Oh, man.
why did you hear
Yes.
something? Did somebody tell you something?
And you know what? I gained so many lifelong female friends doing that because I was like, no, I don't have a crush on you. And then we just became friends.
You see, it took me till college to figure that out.
Not always for the better, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my own
I've
problem.
never made a friend having a crush on somebody.
Oh. Boy, I could teach a crash course.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's for
Shout
me
out
it might
to-
be the question of how many friends do I have that are female that I haven't had a crush on.
Yeah, but Andrew also crushes on everyone.
It's true. It is the plague in my brain.
So Donna is then over with. It's the next day. She's at ski instruction. She's talking with Tracy, and she's like, "I've got a perfect plan to."
She's wearing the penguin sweater again.
She is, and she's got the perfect plan in order to seduce Rob, and so she skis. She goes, "Hey, Rob," and then starts to. "I'm coming over to you," and starts to ski towards him, and then.
Falls into his arms.
Right. So we're all in agreement. She intentionally wrecks herself here.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So she feigns getting out of control and then crashes, and Rob has to come and save
Well,
her.
and there was some, dare I say, foreshadowing
Yeah, certainly.
with her saying, I fell and he picked me up. And I fell again, and he picked me up. So
in some countries you'd be married.
And in some countries you'd be married. Well, of course, if she's got a crush on him, she's meditating on every single moment she's spent with that man, like the whole day. She's falling asleep at night thinking like, he caught me. Well, one of those times she's thinking about it, probably hit her. Oh, I just need to fall again.
Oh yeah. And so he comes over and she's like, he's helping her up and she's grabbing onto him. And
do you need my shoulder to grab onto?
Oh yeah.
Bait.
And then he decides to be a killjoy and calls his girlfriend Katie over.
He doesn't call her over.
No, she comes over.
She comes up to him, and can we talk about her voice though?
It's so airy.
Hi, Rob.
Yes, it is like, we are just going to stereotype. She's one of those girls.
Yeah.
But like, I'm into it.
Yeah, of course you are.
What aren't you into?
Yeah.
As previously established, Andrew crushes on everyone.
Even the Phi Beta Bimbo.
Reporting for duty.
She's a lot.
Yeah.
Her voice so little. Like
her voice, so
I
just
yeah.
Can't.
Yes, and they're obviously doing that on purpose.
Yep. It sounds like she's carving it up. Like she comes in there with some speed.
Yeah, it sounds like she just goes. Whoosh,
make sure
stops.
that she has the. She claims to check in about their dinner plans. For tonight.
Plans. Yeah. Oh yeah, throws in like. She definitely saw there was she definitely saw there was a little 13, 12-year-old girl crushing on her boyfriend and was like,
I'm going to be territorial.
I need the validation because I am his age and I can date him. She, in no way, could date.
My chemical gumbo is 5 years older than her chemical gumbo. And therefore I am better.
Yeah, it's puppy love. It's exactly what Tracy said. It's puppy love. Like, you can't.
Puppy love alert. Puppy love alert.
Puppy love alert. Like, you can't tell a 13-year-old girl not to have a crush.
Other thing about this scene, Tracy repeating everything that Donna says, hilarious. She's
funny.
Fine. It's fine. I'm going to go now. She's going to go now.
Yeah. Just being a strong, supportive female friend, backing Donna up when she realizes, I can't win here. He's got a girlfriend. I need to retreat. And
but
so
also,
she leaves class.
Also being a 13-year-old girl, not knowing what to do from there.
Oh,
she's a bit 12-year-old girl. Like, she doesn't know how to bail her friend out of that. She hasn't figured that one out yet. Yeah. So she's just going to be like, yep, she's going to go. We're going to go now.
Yeah,
bye.
But she does it well,
Absolutely.
And so on the topic of Katie skating up, or skiing up, really sounding really good. There's a great bit in the official guide from Dave Arnold, who sound engineered this episode, talking about he was about trying to create the sound of skiing in the middle of a South California heat wave. So
that had to be difficult.
He borrowed a set of skis and created his own snow by shaving ice cubes with a cheese grater.
Wow.
That is dedication.
That is insane.
Imagine the amount of ice he had to shave.
Yeah, because, you've got to cool down the ground so that it will stay there.
Yeah, he was doing it in the sound studio, not, outside, but still.
Yeah, but even if you're doing it in a plastic bin, that is...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
He did it.
It sounds great.
He succeeded. It's a shame that they couldn't have just, did it in Colorado, where they have all that skiing.
Nope, not where the show's produced.
Or Vermont at Christmas with all that snow.
Vermont.
A little
Christmas.
A little white Christmas for you.
Yeah, we're all dreaming of one.
Absolutely.
So Donna leaves the lesson and goes to talk to George. And as he's back in the room talking to himself, monologuing in a way that felt very much like, oh, right, Jeff Parker doesn't write audio dramas.
Yeah, very much. He's talking to himself and just This is the most unhinged I have ever heard George Barclay.
I mean, Pokenberry Christmas, but he is very
that was a
unhinged
cover,
here.
you know?
Yeah, you know, he starts ranting about the fact that this guy has, like, is tall and muscular and good looking. I'm
Drives
like,
us.
all right, George.
Yeah. Gay
Yeah.
much? But
Or
also,
just insecure about the
Yes,
fact that
that's
he's not
more what I
that
was
anymore.
insinuating. Like,
Possibly.
he's projecting so hard, and then he, like, goes
Probably
on to
drives a
talk
sports
about
car.
like Donna as young, naive, impressionable, vulnerable, and I'm just like, man, you're putting her on such a pedestal. You're putting both these people on such pedestals.
Well, yeah, and also, like, I mean, maybe trust the progeny of you. Like, she's half you, so...
And you've
I don't
raised her.
Yeah.
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 There's a, you know, she's... And he does kind of come back to, like, oh, she's smart, you know.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't go much for those flashy guys, and then kind of goes that. And then Donna comes in, and he yells at her, Donna, I forbid you to ever step foot out of this cabin ever again.
Yeah. And then she's like, what? And he's like, never mind.
Yeah. Never mind. How was your day? And Donna's upset. You know?
Yeah. And they have, like, a decent conversation here.
Yeah.
It feels like
Like, that kind of got my heart hurt a little bit. You know, I got my feelings hurt, but it'll be okay.
yeah. I think it's weird. George kind of, like, she does not know in any way that George knows about what's going on, because he's just been watching it all from afar through
Right.
Mary. And so it's weird in the way that they're, like, both talking about this and seem to be on the same page. And I'm like, this is the first conversation you guys are having. Like, this doesn't add up. But yeah, I for the most part appreciate George here just kind of being like, yeah, like, it's hard for me to, like, you know, let you go, and, you know, it's, I don't know, we're reaching that stage where, like, I can't, you know, shelter you forever. And he makes a joke about, like, her not being able to date until both him and Mary are dead, which is funny.
Oh, and so common. I've heard that. My mom and my dad said they were going to lock me in their closet until I was 30.
Yep. Yeah.
I never heard that. They said, Andrew, 16. And I said, I raised you 13.
To a girl who's almost 3 years older than me.
Right, well, if one of us are 16, it's fine, right?
Yeah, that was my argument to the T. And it worked. Oh, I love my parents so much. They are wonderful people, and they tried their best.
Oh, man. The thing that is, I don't know, that is tougher in this scene is the, like, and it is just, like, classic, like, you know, conservative, patriarchal, whatever, but is him talking about, like, someday you won't be my little girl anymore, you'll be someone
somebody
else's girl. And I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, George.
Yeah, what about the fact she's her own person? Huh?
Right, exactly. Can we not be so possessive of, like, yes, you will
Yeah.
graduate from daughter to wife.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a little yucky. Well,
Yeah, and the fact that, like, yes, there's the concept of, you know, like, leave and cleave, but also she's not just his, like, possession. They become one.
Right. Well, and this isn't
also,
like,
husbands are supposed to submit to their wives too. There's also that verse as well.
Yeah.
And sacrifice.
but there's also the thing of, like, he would not be having this conversation with Jimmy.
Nope.
Like, there's no version of Jimmy where it's like, yeah, similar to the joke. I mean, the thing that you guys were talking
would
about,
love
being
to see
raised
it.
in the same house and
Yeah.
having different experiences. But, like, there's not a Jimmy version which is like, man, like, you're gonna be my son until you're someone's husband.
Yeah.
Like that.
no.
Or you say that
yeah.
sentence and it literally makes no sense. And then you're like, oh right, it should be the same one.
Yeah.
Or, like, they both don't make sense. Like, we need to get past this, guys.
Well, and it would be the same thing if George saw Jimmy crushing on a girl. He'd be like, all right, buck up, soldier, and go ask her out. Like,
Right.
you
Yes.
know.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, Mary's doing the same thing. She's just like, oh, he's cute. You know? Like,
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of ickiness here, but not like out of the ordinary ickiness.
Yeah. Well, and it being Barclay Family, it's just the classic. Okay,
Right, they're the perfect Christian family.
Yeah,
like that's their thing.
They're cute and they're hilarious, and there's some fun parts there. But yeah, then there's a little bit.
Don't
of
go to
yuck
bed
that
without their
drips in.
halos on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's the episode.
Yeah, it's really short, and how quickly it wraps up as well. I kept thinking there was another scene after it. I do like this episode in the sense that there's a good amount of awareness that comes from George at the end. Like, I like that it is just as much, if not more so, about George learning than it is Donna learning. So that part is cool, and I do appreciate that. Grace, what did you think?
I mean, it was just as entertaining as it's always been to me. Yeah, I mean, being, an adult and going through the 12-year-old girl phase where you, like, see a guy on vacation and you think he's cute, like, never does it end up being your ski instructor. Never does he end up going over to you and sitting at your table at lunch. Never does he end up catching you when you fall. Like, this is all, like...
It's a fantasy.
Talk about the perfect family. This is also the perfect alignment.
Yeah.
And then also the perfect fall of her literally falling and him saying, that's my girlfriend. She didn't even, he didn't even approach her and say, like, listen, you're 12 and I am 17.
Right.
It's cute you have a crush, but I have a girlfriend. Like, he didn't even embarrass her. She had the shock of finding out that he had a girlfriend, but he didn't even embarrass her in that.
And that's nice on his part. Like, I like that because it feels like Rob is aware and playing along, but it doesn't feel like he's like nefarious and leading her on.
Yeah.
I think, at least my perception, he strikes that balance well, where it's like he's aware that like this is a big deal for her and doesn't want to like bust that, but he's also not trying to be like, to make her fall for him or whatever.
Yeah.
Fair assessment? I don't know.
I think it's a good assessment.
Fair assessment, yeah.
The discussion questions for this episode. So the first, I honestly think these are on the more interesting end of the discussion questions. Because number one is, why do you think it's so hard for parents to see their kids get older? And I'm like, that is a deep question to be asking the 8-year-olds listening to this.
Yeah.
Album 7 discussion questions pull no punches.
I mean, I think it's partially because, they actually, I don't know if you knew this, but when you have a baby and you're in the hospital, they actually make you watch videos about how to take care of your child before they will let you go home. And so you kind of oftentimes make a vow to yourself to usually, make a vow to yourself or to your husband that you're going to take care of this child no matter what. And that is something that, you put together yourself. It's a conglomeration of you and your husband or whoever. And so it's kind of like, and then you've seen them grow from a time they don't even remember.
Right.
Up to a point where they're now becoming a little bit self-sufficient.
It's the autonomy that's like the scary, difficult part. It's like this person has up till this point only done what I have told them to, and like not actually thought for themselves. Or if they did, they were wrong in that. And like if they weren't thinking for themselves, that was disobedience and was punished. Whereas now it's like, they're having thoughts that like aren't what I'm thinking, but also aren't bad thoughts.
Yeah, they're not disobeying. They're not doing anything wrong. But it's just, no father wants to see their daughter have their first crush because they're like, oh, my little girl. Growing up. But I think it also is like the next step into them being more self-sufficient, them not needing as much from their parents. And up until that point, it's been, they make dinner, they get you up for school, all that stuff. Like, and it's very sad when you get to the point where parents are like, so what did you know, like, why are you so hungry? Oh, I don't know how much I ate today. Well, you should be able to feed yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I have a question for you. Do you feel like because you are the youngest child that there's been a little bit more attention drawn to your growing up than, say, you saw for me or Brendan or Colleen? It's okay if it wasn't. I'm not sure. Like, this is just a genuine question.
Andrew's saying this because he feels like you get all the attention. And
No.
Oh, please.
No,
I feel like there are such drastic differences in the way that Colleen and I grew up. Not necessarily Andrew and I. We got some of the softer end of our parents. And the fact that, like, Colleen was, I mean, your first child, there's no class. They send you home with videos about how not to kill your kid, but, you know, they don't tell you how to be the perfect parent.
Well, and also, Colleen was born 1992, which was 3 years after this came out, meaning, like, that this was the pertinent, you know, parenting information at their disposal and, you know, the modeling and stuff. This is...
Yeah. Well, and she was literally an experiment child. Like, you don't know how to be a parent until you start being a parent. So they were obviously a lot more strict with Colleen and Brendan than they ever were with you and I. And that's just comes with experience and learning what hills to die on and which ones are really not that big a deal. Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, and especially because... I mean, Colleen and Brendan are only 2 years apart, but Andrew and Brendan are, 7 years?
7.5.
And Andrew and I are only 2.5 years, but Colleen and I are 11 years apart. So there's also very much a cultural difference of the way that we grew up.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's kind of two separate pods. Like,
So you've got an oldest and a youngest in Colleen and Brendan, and then you've got an oldest and youngest in Andrew and me.
Right. Yeah.
Could you imagine if you were older than me? Like if it was the other way around.
Andrew would be even more intolerable.
Yeah, no, I could not. I'm entitled enough as it is. I could not be a last child.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I would.
And with all my medical issues, they would have not been able to.
As if Andrew doesn't have medical issues.
No, I just pretend like I don't for 2.5 years.
I mean, there are a lot of ER visits in the last year that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the only other discussion question I want to hit on here is just, and we can touch this so briefly, but it's just, do you think Donna was foolish to have such a big crush on Rob?
Oh, no.
No. Like, what kind of are you blaming the child? Is that the argument?
She's also at the age where...
It's the like, tenderest, least, like, purest of crushes.
Absolutely. It's a baby. It's a puppy love baby crush.
Yeah.
Like, and she's at the age where, like, every interaction with a boy is a crush, even on other people. Like, I have girls who are literally asking me, they're like, do you have a crush on him? I'm like, no. They go, are you sure? I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have a boyfriend.
It is astonishing
it's
how
hilarious.
quickly those crushes do develop. I will say.
Yeah.
It is true. Well, it's just like you look at them and they're cute and then everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. I think it's very cute. I think she's totally in the right here. I think there is literally no harm to come from this.
Yeah,
She's
no.
12. How are you supposed to blame the 12-year-old for having a crush?
Yep.
That's what they do.
You can't blame her, like, according to the episode and his attractive voice.
Yeah.
He's
Rob.
He's clearly hot Rob. I mean, I'm picturing like a blonde, muscular guy. I don't really have anything else, but that's who I've always seen in my head as hot Rob. But
Dirty
like,
blonde for me. Long
Dirty
hair
blonde.
though. Like not like, you know, trash bag, but like hockey player style.
Yeah. And so, like,
He's a hockey hunk.
Oh,
you
God, I
can't
love me a hockey hunk.
even I'm sure. And the fact that Mary was like, oh, he's attractive. Like, it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, he's not really my type, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, that is a genuinely
Yes.
attractive human being.
Yep. Yeah, and he gave her a little bit of attention, and she crushed on him, and that's cool.
And that's all she needed was a little bit of attention.
See, George, stop freaking out.
Yeah. Chill out, George. Okay. Well, I think that wraps us up here. If you're
Yeah.
cool with that. Grace, do you have anything you would like to plug this week?
For the listeners of the Wad Fam Shock Pod, anything you'd like them to know about?
Oh, yeah, actually.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah. The Contemporary Ballet of Pennsylvania is performing Carnival of the Animals December 11th and 12th. I am in it. There's two
This episode will
shows.
be out before that. Very
shows.
closely before
Yeah.
that. But hey, if you're in the area.
Yeah. It'll be at the Marietta Community House. So it's really fun, and it's really entertaining. It's great for kids. Yeah. You should
I
come
will be
see it.
there.
Yeah, Andrew will be there.
Look, if you guys go, DM Andrew.
Yeah, we can sit next to each other and not pay attention.
Oh, man.
No, I always pay attention, Grace.
Only when I'm dancing, though. He
Yes,
does
yes,
zone out.
yes,
He
yes.
does zone out the rest of the time. But yeah, it's really great. Really well put together. It's choreographed by Sherry Vexo. Yeah, she's incredible.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. We'll
Got more going on than either me or Dylan.
Absolutely. We'll throw a link in the show notes. And then one other thing, this will also be in the show notes, that I want to point out is in the lead up to Christmas, which we are now in, as this episode airs, the Wad Fam Chalk Pod sweater merch is now available again. So if you want a sweater with our logo on it, it is one of the favorite things I've ever made.
Yeah, it's actually really
And
dope.
yeah, there will be links in the description to our TeePublic store where you can purchase that. It's available in red and green, in long sleeve like t-shirt, and in like long sleeve sweatshirt. So you got some options. I think it looks great, and yeah, you should buy it.
An excellent ugly Christmas sweater option.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have like a sweater that literally no one in your life will understand, there's not one better than this
Those
one.
are great. Like sweaters that people don't understand.
Because they always ask about it.
Yep.
Excellent conversation starter.
And hey, good promo for our podcast. All right. And with all that being said, we will see you next week for an episode. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, there'll be an episode next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
TBD.
Bye.
Bye.
Wad Fam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. The Barclay Family Ski Vacation was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, with special guest Grace Acebo. It was edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.